All right, welcome to the Save Par Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Dominic. Derek is not here for this one. I feel like it's been a while since it's been just me. So if everybody got used to listening to Derek and myself, I apologize. You're just stuck with me. However, we do have a very cool guest, one that we've kind of been working with for a little bit, but this one came together super fast. We have Steve from OnCore Golf. If you're like me, you kind of know who OnCore Golf is, but tonight we're going to learn a lot more about them. Steve, welcome to the pod. Um, a little bit of like a background. Like I was telling you before, I had heard of Encore because of a random golf club event. Derek and I played at the one here in Minnesota. We had so much fun. Those events are so cool. To play in a huge scramble like that, I didn't know how it was going to go, and I'm so happy that everybody had so much fun. But there's a guy there, I believe his name was Nick. I believe he is part of Encore. I don't know what your guys' titles are exactly. Um, but he gave everybody a couple balls, and I was like, this is really cool. So I'd emailed Nick, and then we just kind of lost contact. And thanks to Austin, aka Mr. Showtime himself, he hooked me up with you. It's a long story short. Steve, welcome to the pod. I'm excited to learn about all about Encore.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dominic. And yeah, we've got a great partnership with Eric and Random Golf Club, and Nick Bennis, our social media manager, has been out on tour with them on at a number of their meetups. And I guess he was given the name Nicky Balls, so a lot of the RGC community knows him as that great kid. So yeah, just appreciate you having me on and giving us the platform.
Oh, for sure. I appreciate you coming on such short notice. Originally, we had a guest planned. She got sick, and then Derek got sick, and you're like, "Hey, let's do it," and I was like, "Cool, let's go." I got an email like 8 a.m. that you were on, and I was like, I'm staying in bed. So appreciate you still coming
Yeah,
on, even though it's 8 p.m. my time now. But yeah,
yeah.
so a little bit of background on Encore. When did it start? Who started it? Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So myself and my co-founder Brett Blakely, we started Encore a little over 10 years ago now. And we were friends living in New York City. And I had went to NYU, was playing on the golf team there when I first met Brett. And Brett had moved from Buffalo and was in international marketing. Um, so I had graduated and ended up taking a job at Deutsche Bank and was working in investment banking for a few years. Um, and at one point, Brett came to me and he said, did I ever show you the golf ball that my father's company, that was the nanotechnology company, um, had been working on? And Brett's dad is Keith Blakely, who's our CEO. But Brett knew I was a golfer and all my buddies from NYU, the golf team. So when he told me about the ball, I did some research online, and it was a hollow metal core golf ball, and I'd never really heard or seen anything like it. And Doug Dufault, the engineer who had developed it with three engineers, worked for Keith, and it was honestly kind of a side project for them. They were mainly focused on fuel cells, alternative energy, nano cement. The golf ball was, something that Doug and his three engineer buddies had patented, but they hadn't actually built. So the technology, their concept was, if they could push the weight to the outside of the ball, they could cut down on the side spin. So they were all kind of hack golfers, just amateurs looking for an edge, and incredibly brilliant guys. And so they had come up with this concept of a marble, basically a hollow marble inside of the golf ball. Um, but the company that kind of funded it and developed it really wasn't a sports technology company, and they weren't really doing a lot with the golf ball. And right around that time, it was kind of, you had the '08 stock market crash, and I was looking to get out of finance, and Brett Brett was looking for a job. We had both actually lost our jobs on the same day during that financial tsunami. So we kind of, put our heads together and said, geez, I wonder, if there's something we can do with the golf ball technology. So long story short, we ended up forming Encore, licensing the technology, eventually purchasing it from Doug and his engineer buddies. And Doug's still our main engineer. But that was kind of how we got started with something that really wasn't being given the light of day, and just persevering and building a golf brand around some cool technology. Now it turns out over the years we've really evolved that hollow metal core design, but that was how we got our start.
I had never thought of the golf ball as being so, I don't want to say complicated, but complex might be a better word. I never
Yeah.
thought of moving the weight to the side of the golf ball to cut down on side spin. That's actually super interesting. Um, I'm not super familiar with how golf balls work other than when I hit mine, it goes straight into the woods. So that I might be playing the wrong ball. Um, that's actually like really cool. So when you say like hollow metal, is there metal in the ball or is it just kind of that's where the inspiration took place?
Yeah, so it was the original design was stainless steel. We had two kind of semi-spheres that were welded together to form, basically a ball.
Mhm.
And turns out the ball was very accurate, but it ended up being pretty hard feeling. Mostly, and feel is mostly sound related. So you'd hit the ball and it kind of had a metal ting to it. And it was a little bit shorter.
Okay.
So the concept behind perimeter weighting, we proved worked and it was pretty accurate, but we knew we needed to make a ball that was just as long, if not longer, than say the Pro V, um, while still maintaining our unique perimeter weighting. So um, we ended up basically blowing up the core. So there's um, kind of a high density metal powder now that's embedded in the polymers in that mantle layer. So we still achieve that perimeter weighting, and now the feel and distance are just right up there with the best. And um, so yeah, it's come a long way from those initial designs, but we still incorporate metal, just not a physical metal core. It's in a powder form now.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep.
It feels like that sounds like something totally different. And I'm assuming you guys have like a patent on it. So like Titleist can't come through and be like, haha, this is ours now. Why isn't anybody else doing this? And why are you guys the ones to think of it? Not saying that it's like a bad thing by any means, but I'm just wondering why nobody else has tried it.
Yeah, so there'd been metal balls in golf balls in the past, going back years, much smaller than what we were trying to do, and they weren't hollow. So you saw the perimeter weighting, right, with golf clubs. They used to be solid metal, um, persimmon wood, right, and then they kind of evolved into this hollow metal shape, right, for the perimeter weighting,
Mhm.
moment of inertia, right, keeping that face square through impact. So that technology from the driver, really the Big Bertha was the one that ushered in that design. Then it came to irons and putters, right? You have the heel toe weighting on the putters now, and the hollow metal designs for irons. So we were just really the first to incorporate it into golf balls. And it's
Okay.
always really been something that we've owned and worked on. Why the other guys haven't done it? Yeah, we do have patents and trade secrets. Um, so that certainly helps. And everyone's kind of focused on their own niche and thing. But I think Doug and the three other engineers that came up with that design were they were in automotive aeronautics, um, doing various government research. So they kind of came from outside the industry. So they were able to really just kind of take risks that I think people inside the industry wouldn't have thought of. And conversely, people inside the industry took notice, and over the years, we attracted John Calabria and Mike Jordan, who built Titleist Pro V1, TaylorMade's TP5, alongside with other engineers, obviously, but they were instrumental in those designs. And they were kind of attracted to what we were doing with the perimeter weighting. So they just supercharged our designs, and we launched the Elixir. We got a couple Golf Digest Gold Awards with that ball. It's a low compression, super soft tour ball, and just won My Golf Spy's top ball in their 20 to 30 price point category. And then our Vero X1 and Vero X2, which are step up from the Elixir, a little firmer, kind of designed for the scratch or lower handicap golfer, right? But turns out the Vero X1 is our best seller, and golfers of all skill levels are really loving it. So we were fortunate to have them, John and Mike come in, and Keith, our CEO, he's a materials nano graphene guy. So we've got some really smart people involved. And then we've got some good investors. You mentioned before the call, one of our on our ambassador page, Charles Schwab. So Charles, iconic financier and built an incredible business. Is very involved in golf. Even on the Champions Tour with the Schwab Cup.
Mm-hmm.
But he had tried the ball through Al Geiberger, who's known on tour as being the first guy to shoot 59. So Al and Charles were friends, and Al gave Charles some of the Elixir balls to try, and he fell in love with them. And we ended up doing some Schwab logo balls for him, and eventually he came on as an investor, one of our largest shareholders, and just been an amazing backer for us.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. I feel like I'm getting like a whole like golf history lesson, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not overloading you.
No. I'm not like a total like golf ball nerd, but I like to hear about how different every company is, right? Like every company is here for a reason, and there's a reason you guys have following, and you're backed by Charles Schwab, and Josh Allen plays your ball, and Ezekiel Elliott plays your ball, which we'll definitely talk about. Um, when you were going over kind of, I don't want to say like, when you said trade secrets, I'm lucky enough to work with Mizuno in my day job. I work in the running industry, so I'm very close with my Mizuno rep. Um, and Mizuno is one of those brands that is super like hush hush, top secret. Um, they don't travel, like two guys don't travel together in case the plane crashes type secret. They are like that. So like in the running industry, they don't tell people what their rubber's made out of or what the wave plates are made out of or stuff like that, right? They do similar stuff with their golf line. But you talking about that kind of reminded me of Mizuno. And I think that's super cool because Mizuno is one of those brands that is super, in my opinion, it's super slept on, right? People who play Mizuno love the hell out of Mizuno. And I kind of get that vibe from you guys. People that play the OnCore balls, I've never heard anything bad about them. I've never played one myself, to be totally honest, transparent. Um, I was given a couple
We'll
balls at
change
the
that.
event, but I didn't want to hit the ball once and then never see that ball again. Just because of the event, I wanted people to like, try it per se. Um, but it kind of feels like Mizuno, minus being from Japan, top secret, kind of slept on. So it feels very cool in my opinion. And I
Yeah,
love Mizuno.
me too. Um, Great. I've got their irons in my bag,
Oh,
and
cool.
I don't think I've tried their running shoes. Kind of Team Saucony over here, but maybe
I
I'll
do love
maybe I'll give them a
Saucony.
shot now that I have to
I
give them a
do love,
shot.
yeah, I do love Saucony. Yeah, Mizuno, the new Wave Horizon just came out. I know the rep's like, we don't seed people for anything, but he's like, you're gonna get a pair. I'm like, yeah, I am. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Um, I actually just bought the new MBO1 putter. I got it in like the beautiful blue color. The issue is it's February in Minnesota. We don't really have golf going on, and the issue is it's super warm and like uncharacteristically no snow. So like the courses are open. It's just getting to tee time is like borderline impossible. But yeah, I mean, depending which Saucony shoe you're wearing, I could definitely do recommendations, but we'll save it after just because I don't think people like it when I talk about shoes um, as much. That's kind of when audience dips.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so you mentioned,
So you said I had a question, quick
yeah,
question. You said it's hard to get tea time now in Mizzou in
Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yeah, a lot of
Wow.
courses aren't open.
This
That's
time of
kind of
year
the
in
issue.
February.
Yeah. So normally this time of year, it's like 30 below, 10 feet of snow. Um, it was like 33 today. There's no snow. It's just a lot of the courses didn't reopen, if that makes
Okay,
sense. And then the ones
gotcha.
that did are like booked out for like weeks because we're taking advantage of it. Um, so like we're working with a course setup. We call them shindigs. They're basically tournaments. And he was saying that like, last week they're booked out like 10 days in advance because of this wild weather we're having. Um,
Wow.
I, yeah, I think
Yeah,
Derek, I mean, it rained Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, to the point where if it wasn't raining, we could have played golf on Christmas Day.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
I
normal.
know we're out of Buffalo, and I know some of my buddies have been out the last week golfing. I think it dipped back into the 30s. I'm actually in San Diego at the moment, but yeah, it's. I wonder from like a greenskeeper's point of view if there's concern, even though the weather is warmer about play that time of the year. If that's why most of the courses are still closed by you. If the guys that stay open, if they're potentially doing damage, but I guess it's you know
That was my,
there's a
that
downside,
was,
I guess, to
yeah, that was my
go ahead.
initial thought, mainly because it's still cold. So, like, you take a big divot and you refill it with like the seed or whatever it is. It grows in the spring and summer, right? Like, it makes
Right.
sense even into the fall. I don't think it's going to grow now because it's so cold. And I wonder if it just kills everything. So, I wonder when it
Yeah.
becomes spring, if there's just going to be like dirt. You know what I mean? Like, there's not going to be like a
Yeah.
fairway, it's just going to be dirt.
Yeah. Wish I had a degree in agronomy or something to be more educated on this, but
Funny.
you're always learning something new in the golf business, right?
Yeah, my buddy's like an assistant greenskeeper or something, and I don't want to ask him about it because I know it's gonna be like a 10-minute just like nonstop rant, and then I'm gonna sit there just like pretending to care, and then I'm gonna feel bad because I zoned it all out. But like he's my best friend, so I'm gonna nod my head and say, "Yep, I get it." So, but
Well,
anyways,
when Derek's back, maybe he can be the next interview, right?
I don't think it's that
We'll
interesting
pull
personally.
your listeners, see if they're interested.
Yeah, we're booked out to like May, so he'd have to wait a little bit, which is too bad. Anyways, I wanted to talk about the different golf balls you guys offer. You kind of gave us a little tidbit of each ball. Can you kind of go over the three balls? So like if anybody's listening, they go, okay, I like this, I like that, because it sounds like I would be playing from kind of what we spoke about. Sounds like I would play the Elixir. Derek is much better than me. He'd probably play the nicer ball. Can't think of the name. I'm
X1,
sorry.
yeah, the Bureau X1
Vero. Yeah.
or X2. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll start with our Avant ball. That's 55 compression, $20 a dozen, two-piece distance Serlin cover. Just a great ball for beginners, for um, golfers looking for ball that's not gonna break the wallet. And
Yeah, that one is
Also good
super
in
affordable.
older. Yeah, exactly. And that's we want it to be that way. Great in the colder weather. Um, it's got that soft feel. And when we first came out with it, we were getting a lot of reviews that it was like better than, you know, certain tour balls. And we were like, well, it's, it was a compliment, right? It wasn't designed to compete at that level because, again, Sterling cover, more geared for distance, beginners, slower swing speed, seniors.
Mhm.
But anyhow, great ball price. I mentioned the Elixir. That's at about 84 compression. So it's on the lower end of lower compression for tour balls. Um, it's racked up a number of awards. Just, we call it the everyman's tour ball just because there's a category of golfers at 29 bucks a dozen. It's a great deal. And the feel on it's really good. Flight's great. It's 3-piece. It's got a TPU thermoplastic urethane cover, and it's got our perimeter weighting technology in it as well. And the next ball in the lineup is the Vero X1. So that's 4-piece. That's got a cast urethane cover, so it's a little thinner cover than the Elixir. So you're gonna get a little more spin around the greens, a little higher on the compression too, not much. I think it's generally around 85. Um, and that turns out to be our best seller, that ball. So our customers love it. It's not too soft, not too hard. It flies. Got a great flight to it. Again, it's got the perimeter weighting technology. And we had some guys on tour using it, playing in. We've had guys play in U.S. Opens with it, and we got some feedback that the guys, out on the PGA Tour would really need something firmer than the X1. So that led to the Vero X2, which is 10 points higher. It's 95 compression, um, low spinning off the driver, great wedge spin, great distance, great feel. It's got the perimeter weighting technology in there. Um, so that's been a nice addition. Right now we're at $43 on that versus 40 for the X1. And that's the lineup. We do have a prototype ball, which we've labeled the Vero XP.
Mm.
It's very similar to the X2. It's got a new core technology in there. So we probably around Q2, into Q2, we'll be rolling that new core technology out throughout each of the models. So we'll have some updated balls later in the year.
Even like the expensive one being $43 a dozen, that's still not, I mean, it's not crazy, right? Like people are spending what, 60 bucks on a dozen of Pro Vs.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy, and we wanted to make sure that even though the balls are super premium and high end and filled with great technology, that it was affordable and reasonable for golfers. And we're primarily direct to consumer. We do have pro shops, but we just found that going, through the internet, having the relationship with our customers, um, was, a way to save our customers money,
Mhm.
but also just kind of enhance the overall ball fitting experience. So yeah, most of our business is done through OnCoreGolf.com.
I like that
It's
personally. That kind of leads me to my next question. Now that you guys are the official ball of Fling Golf, which congratulations. Obviously we're good friends with Austin Ebersole, number one ranked Fling golfer in the world. Shout out Austin. Um, he's probably at home rocking his mullet, playing with his little girl. I love that guy. He's my favorite.
Yeah, good
Um,
dude.
he's a good dude. So obviously with Fling Golf, it's a little bit different than normal golf, right? Like I don't think they worry about the spin of the golf ball as much. I could totally be wrong. I've never talked to Austin about how the golf ball spins coming out of the. I call them flingers, and he loves that I call them flingers out of the fling six. Is there a ball that they'll play, or do they get to pick their ball? You know what I mean? Like, so are they all playing the Elixir? Are they all playing this? Is there like a good mishmash?
I know Austin was playing the Elixir, um, and there's a handful of others that are probably playing either the Avant, or possibly the X1. So there is one of the fling golfers. He's built a contraption to kind of launch tests the different to me by email a few days ago, and requested some samples. So I'll have some more data in terms of spin rates and everything with the fling. But they're a passionate community. I know there's some golfers that you know probably aren't fans of that version of golf. But like foot golf, right? These are top golf. I think it's just good to expose people to different aspects of the game. And if fling golfer turns into whatever you want to call it, regular golfer, normal golfer, great, right? And vice versa. If someone that's playing golf likes, trying out the fling golf. So one of the things when we started Encore, Brett, my founder, co-founder, was really big on a book called Blue Ocean.
Okay.
And Blue Ocean is like, you know, a marketing concept where it's like you don't swim in the shark infested waters that are red, and try to basically do things the way the competition is doing them. In our case, whether it's Titleist, Callaway, TaylorMade, right? We're never going to be able to spend as much or do the things they do, and get noticed. So Blue Ocean has been part of our strategy, which is, do some different things on the marketing side. I think Fling Golf kind of fits into that, where, an outsider might say, what the hell does that have to do with a premium golf ball technology company? But, they're a passionate community, and they just appreciate that we're supporting them, and they're spreading the word. So
Mhm.
it's just getting started. And Keith Blakely, our CEO, was kind of the one who's been interfacing with them and their leadership, and they've done a good job growing the sport and getting some visibility on ESPN and some other channels.
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky enough to have Austin come on the pod, and I mean, he sent me a signed fling stick, and it's super cool. I'm at the point where I keep looking at it. I'm like, I could probably like throw that golf ball like 400 yards. In reality, with my luck, if I tried it, it'd go like straight down. I want to get one that's not signed because I don't want to rub off his signature. Just because it's like, cool. My friend signed it for me, and he just happens to be insanely good at flinging a damn golf ball. Um, but I follow him, and then I follow Sam Scantron. Um, that community is so passionate about what they do. I remember when we released the episode, everybody who played fling golf professionally was listening and left us reviews and was like liking it and sharing it. And I've never played fling golf. It's not something that's like on my bucket list to do, but I'm probably going to try it. I've never felt so loved by a community that I felt like a stranger in. So I think in terms of, that blue ocean, you guys really knocked it out of the park with them because they will have your back. They'll talk about it. And I feel like before you know it, they're going to be everywhere because I feel like they're like the pickleball of golf. The issue is, I think pickleball is the dumbest thing ever. Um, where I would play fling golf, right? I'm not going to be caught dead playing pickleball. Partially because like Derek already hurt himself doing it, and I feel like it's like an old person thing. I apologize if you play pickleball. I just feel like it's an
I
old man
haven't
sport.
played much of it, but it's taken the world by storm. Apparently, I didn't. We were at the PGA show, and they apparently had a number of pickleball booths, because of the crossover in sports and golfers. A lot of golfers play it, but yeah, I mean, I do enjoy like tennis, and it probably is something I would play. I play a lot of racquetball,
Mhm.
but I haven't tried fling golf either. Look forward to trying that. And yeah, it's funny because I watched a few of his Austin's videos, and they make it look so easy. I can't be that hard. It's like lacrosse, just wing it. But um, I think there is a technique, and I think they make it look easy, but I'm sure it's pretty hard.
Yeah, watching him, he just goes whoop, and then the ball's flying. I'm like, man, if I would have done it, I would have flung it and then not like flicked it or whatever, and it would have gone straight to the ground. Um, but then like I feel like he kind of talked about it on his episode where people are like, "Oh man, you're not a real golfer. You can't play real golf." And then he posted a video of him hitting a golf club, and he's better than me. Not saying I'm the best ever, but like the dude's talented. Whether you want to buy into Fling Golf or not, it's a great community of people, and I'm happy a company partnered with them because they deserve a little bit more credit with what they're doing with their craft.
No, that's good to hear. I think some of our team members will appreciate that too, because I think they thought Keith was a little crazy when he's like, we're the official ball of Fling Golf. So, um, but that was once I got to know a lot of the guy. We met a number of them at the PGA show, Austin included, and we had been supporting a couple of them, some of the more talented ones prior to that, and they'd just been really um, good people. So
Yeah, I mean, they're just dudes being dudes. You know, it's hard to really be mad at them. I did want to touch on a couple of your ambassadors. We kind of touched on Charles Schwab already. I think that's dope. Um, you have one of the most talented quarterbacks in the world as an ambassador, being Josh Allen. I am not a Bills fan. I'm a Niners fan. I'm pissed. I'm still sad. I cried. I threw up. I'm getting over it though,
oh,
because we'll be
sorry.
back. Um, but how did you get Josh Allen to be an ambassador for you? Obviously, you being from Buffalo makes sense, right? But you still got to get someone like him. You got to get his attention.
Yeah, no. So Josh is amazing. Just such an incredible talent on the field and off the field too. Just a great guy. But Encore's based in Buffalo, New York, and um, we had made an announcement that we were working on kind of our own version of a Top Golf in Buffalo,
Hmm.
and it caught Josh's eye. He might have seen a post on social media, and he had reached out to his agent and said, "Hey, what's going on with Encore?" And I'd like to see what they're up to here, in Buffalo. So his agent reached out, and really nice guy, and kind of coordinated a meeting for them all to, Josh and his agent to come into the office and meet the team, kind of just hear about what we were all about. And turns out he's obsessed with golf. And we, gave him golf balls to try. And at the time, it was before he really had his kind of breakout season, and he didn't have his full contract. So we weren't even sure if he would be around after a year, just with how the trades work and everything. So
Hmm.
we were super excited to have him interested, but at the same time, you didn't want to get too excited without knowing, you know, how long he'd be in Buffalo. But it turns out, um, he's here for the foreseeable future, God willing, and we've just gotten to play some golf with him and film some commercials, and he's played in the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro Am and the Waste
Hmm.
Management. So he usually rocks like this Encore hat with the capital letters, and just a really great advocate for Encore, for Buffalo, for our community. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about him.
I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about him other than like on ESPN with his interceptions. But off the field, I've heard nothing but good things. I believe he played in one of the events that I can't think of the name. Yeah, it started
Oh, he
out
was in
as
the match
the
with
match. Tom
Brady.
Brady, Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers. Yeah, that's when I first saw him and he had on the Encore gear. And I was like, huh, okay. Knowing now that's from Buffalo makes more sense. The one that I find super interesting is Ezekiel Elliott, especially now that he plays for the Patriots, being like their rival. Obviously, it was a 1 year deal. I don't know where he's going to play now, but how did Zeke get involved?
So Zeke got involved actually through an app that we've acquired called Golf Boost,
Okay,
and it's an AI swing lesson app. It's pretty cool. If you're listening, you can download it, iOS, Android, and there's a free portion of it where you can basically just film yourself with your smartphone, and the AI will give you a lesson. So it kind of looks at all the data points in your body and mechanics, and it's really pretty fascinating technology. We've been working on it for a few years now and keep making upgrades to it. But so he had tried that. He was a beginner golfer, and I want to say he was down in maybe the Dominican in the off season golfing, and he was using the app and helped his swing out, and he ended up becoming a shareholder and just a great ambassador for us.
that's cool. I know he's been one of my favorites since he entered the league. Um, People like to really like rip on him, but I'm like, I like seeing the shorter, bigger guys just run through people. Um, I've always thought that was cool. I mean, growing up, luckily I was able to watch Adrian Peterson and Frank Gore, so it's been nothing but downhill backs in my life, anyways. Even though now I have McCaffrey, which is not a downhill back, but he'll run through
Yeah,
anybody. Um,
yeah,
no, that's super cool.
that was a great game.
Yeah, don't.
Unfortunately we've seen we've been on the other end of that with the Chiefs, so we feel your pain,
I mean,
and
this is twice now, twice in 4 years.
yeah, yeah. But hell of a season your team put together there. So
They'll be back.
kudos to
I don't.
that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see the big skull thing. I mean, Minnesota de facto Vikings fan. Their organization is so badly run; it's almost comical. That's why Diggs left. So you're welcome for Diggs, even
Yeah,
even though he's probably going to leave the Bills. He's drama queen, but the dude produces and wants the damn ball. Can't blame the guy. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
he's incredible for sure.
Oh, hands of gold. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, so I think that's all I have for like the actual like golf stuff. The last little bit we always talk about like food, just kind of more about you as a golfer, stuff like that. Um, so one of our favorite questions that we normally ask, obviously Derek normally has his computer with all the questions, and of course he didn't email them to me. I forgot to ask him. That's the issue. So I'm gonna go out of order, just as my memory serves me. Um, my favorite one to ask, because everybody hates me when I answer it, is do you prefer morning rounds or twilight rounds?
Twilight. Yeah,
I'm the same way.
I just something about the sun setting, and I know it can be limiting in terms of how many holes you can get in, but I'm supposed to play Torrey Pines next week, and it's going to be a twilight round, so I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be
First
super
out
cool.
there, yeah.
We played the ocean course at Half Moon Bay over last summer. That we did in the morning. Derek had to drag me out of bed. That is the only morning round that I can like happily say I enjoyed. That course, beautiful. Um, we had
Oh,
a
I've
great.
never played it. Hmm.
Oh, it's stunning. I think I almost killed a woman. Um, but absolutely beautiful. Yeah, me and golf clubs and a golf ball, and not always. It's not
Hmm.
the best look.
Is it the ball or the club that almost got her?
I think it was me. The ball almost hit her. The sun was coming down, so like I can't see, and she was walking up steps that I didn't know were there. Because again, I'm not from California. I don't know that golf course. And everyone else is yelling four, and I'm blinded, and I'm like, I can't see anything. And they're like, dude, you almost like domed her. I'm like, well, she shouldn't have been standing there. Like, what are you doing? Um, I missed her
Oh man,
completely, which is good because I missed the hole too.
thank God, right?
Oh, I know. Jordan from Odin would have been pissed because I was using one of his balls. Um, if we're ever in Buffalo, New York, what's a place we have to eat at? I know that's hard.
So yeah, the I guess the obvious, wings are one of the things Buffalo is known for, our food cuisine. Bart Bill, I would say, is tends to be. I know it's Josh Allen's favorite. Definitely some of the best wings. Hutch's is like a classic Buffalo, just really nice restaurant, steakhouse. So I would say, yeah, Bar Bill and Hutch's are two great options.
I love wings. Are you a drummer flats guy?
Um, I like I like them both. Yeah,
Mm.
I guess I don't have a strong opinion on that. But but yeah, you won't have a bad wing there. So
And then are you
come
putting like blue cheese
come
or
visit.
ranch or anything?
They're on me if you come visit.
Oh, take you up on that.
Yeah, it's blue cheese, and everyone in the city gets upset if you say ranch. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, it's a little buffalo chip on our shoulder.
In the Midwest, we're kind of known for putting ranch on everything, which thankfully I'm not one of those people who put ranch on everything. I have family members who dip like their pizza in ranch. I'm like, you gotta stop because you're
Yeah,
feeding into the stereotype. Um, I enjoy a good blue cheese wing though. I can get behind that.
my sister. That's great.
I do enjoy blue cheese and
Oh,
ranch though.
broke up a little. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Sorry, you broke up a little. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was saying
Yeah.
I enjoy blue cheese.
Yeah, me too. Me
Um,
too.
and then one question we always love to ask: what would your walk-up song be on the first hole?
Um, that's a good one.
This is why we don't resend the questions because then you have all day to think about this, and that's no fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. I I wouldn't be Usher, but he did a good job there at the Super Bowl.
He had a
Uh,
hell of a show.
yeah. So I know it's probably a little sappy, but it'd probably be a Coldplay song. Just um, my father, he's passed, but we had a lot of good memories, like listening to Coldplay together.
Mm.
So, and he's the one who taught me the game of golf. So, um, yeah, I like Yellow's one that I really enjoy.
I was
What
thinking
about you?
yellow. I was so for you, I was thinking yellow or like Viva La Vida. I think those would be
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah. I think that was what is a little bit of a later album, right? Um,
I
and
think
my
so.
my co-founder Brett's a huge Coldplay fan, so he'd be able to rattle off every song and album way better than me.
I know a couple of their songs. Obviously when Viva La Vida came out, I think I was younger. I don't even want to think about what year that was. Um, I'm not that old now though, so not a huge shock. I think for me, I go in like little musical spurts, right? So like I've been listening to a lot of Brent Faiyaz, he's like a modern day Usher, is kind of how I perceive him. Um, but then like today, all I was doing was like listening to oldies like David Banner. Um, honestly, I'd probably do like Freak a Leak by Pop. No, I mean that's a banger. Oh. God, now I'm put on the spot. The issue is there's so many songs that go through my head, and Derek is historically bad at answering this question because he doesn't answer this
I
question.
know.
Um, oh
I'm bad
god.
at it. What
Oh,
are
I
your
gotta look at my
feelings on
phone.
Taylor Swift?
I'm not a Swiftie,
Yeah,
although if we're gonna go on Super Bowl, I could, walk up to some Ludacris. Oh no, I got it. We're gonna do PIMP by 50.
with it's like auto, listening to it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you walk up to PIMP, you got a golf club and an encore ball. You're doing something at that event.
Yeah.
So we lost you for a little bit. No big deal.
Sorry about that.
I've never had it like lose somebody, so I don't know how this is gonna like export. This will be interesting. I'm gonna learn something today. Anyways, I would walk up to PIMP by 50. Just you're up there. You got your driver, and you got an encore ball, and it's an event with people. I think you're gonna do some damage.
Yeah, that's a little more badass than mine. I like yours.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, Steve, I feel like we talked
Um,
about everything encore related. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on or talk about?
no, no, this was good, man. I think you covered a lot. I guess the last thing I would mention would be for those that can see this. Um, we did a collaboration with PJ Hope, and it's an organization that benefits veterans, stands for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so we did a custom camel box and ball, and proceeds go back to benefit Hope. But it's just been a really impactful partnership for our company and for myself personally, getting to know a lot of the vets who've become Encore ambassadors and PJ Hope ambassadors as well. Um, so yeah, if you want to support that cause, check it out. Check out PJ Hope's website. If you're a veteran listening, they offer free programming so you can learn the game of golf and build kind of rapport and camaraderie with fellow veterans through the sport.
Yeah, and if you're a veteran listening, thank you so much. Um,
Yep.
if my dad listens this far in, I don't even know if my dad listens. Thank you, Dad. My dad's a vet. My grandfather's a
Thank
vet.
you.
I'm from a family of vets, so it's super cool. I'll have to swing out or I'll have to go online, buy a dozen, support that because that's a great cause. Especially being from a family of veterans, that's super cool. My dad's office is right out there, so he's got all of his like Navy stuff and everything, and our garage is full of like his Navy posters. So that's super cool. Was not aware of that. So thank you guys for partnering with such a cool organization.
Yeah, no, that's thanks for sharing that. And thanks to your father. Appreciate you having us on. And yeah, to the listeners, please give Encore a shot. You won't be disappointed.
Sounds like a plan to me. Thank you so much, Steve.
Cheers.